I'd like to call the Destin Fire Control District Board of Fire Commissioners to order. We're at 848 Airport Road, Destin, Florida, December 11, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. This meeting is open to the public. First thing on the agenda, we want to discuss the election of officers, the chairperson, co-chairperson, and secretary treasurer. So I'll entertain offers.
Make a motion, we keep the same?
All right, got a motion to keep the elected, the officers, chairman, co-chairperson, and secretary treasurer as is.
As is.
Any further discussion?
If you want to list them out.
Oh, okay. Chairperson would be myself, Rick Moore. Co-chairperson would be Tommy Green. Secretary treasurer would be Jack Wilson. So all in favor, say aye. Unanimous, 4. We are absent of Jack Wilson, excused absence. And I would like to appoint Employee Relations Commissioner, keeping Mr. Commissioner Buckingham as commissioner for the Employee Relations.
Need a motion, Brad? or-
No, sir, that's an appointment.
It's just an appointment.
Very good.
All right, keep that as it is. All right, at this time, I'd like to open the floor up to public comments. Anybody from the public would like to make a comment? Seeing none, floor will be closed for public comment. Reviewing the minutes, regular meeting, November 13th, 2018.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of November 13, 2018.
Second. All right, got a motion to approve the minutes from November 13th, 2018, and a second. Any discussion? Any corrections or anything? All right, seeing none, take a vote. All in favor? 4, unanimous. All right, the review of the financial report from November 30th, 2018.
The report before you, 2 months into our new fiscal year. Really only 2 items I'd like to mention. You can see that the checking account is low on the balance sheet, 179 below where our minimum where we like to keep it. Was waiting as long as possible for a good influx of ad valorem taxes to come in. However, enough has not come in at this point. I did take a $300,000 draw from the bond fund. We should be able to put that right back in January. Other than that, we had a quiet month with expenditures, with the exception of we did purchase 3 radios, which we actually carried over an encumbrance from our last fiscal year. We were unable to get the purchase made last year. They were on back order, but we have obtained them. It's about $10,000 capital expenditure. Other than that, if you have any questions, looking through the report, I'll do my best to answer them.
What's the amount you're looking to get from the ad valorem first draw?
Well, we've already received a bit, but we needed to receive, 300,000 is what I took. The collection for the start of this year is slower than it's been the last couple of years. So we will be receiving another distribution at the end of this month. It'll probably be upwards of $1 million.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the financial report of November 30th, 2018.
Second.
I got a motion to approve the financial report of November 30th, 2018, and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, take a vote. All in favor? Unanimous. 4. Old business, West End District Station. Chief?
Yes, sir. We did meet with the mayor, Councilman Parker, to review the last iteration of the park plot plan. A lot of good comments. I think everybody's very positive about it. Those drawings, according to Mr. Jenkins, have been updated. So we anticipate that those drawings we should have sometime this week, and have subsequent meetings after that. So, moving in the right direction. I think everything's going well.
And now that we have a new city manager, Lance,
Great.
he's been on top of things, he's worked on with us, yes, so we shouldn't have any backpedaling or anything, should be.
I don't think so. I think Lance is, my conversations with him on board, like the drawing, so, and this last one is just a minor modification.
Very minor.
It's very minor, but I think it's just really, the modification was just to make it so that it's what's going to be presented to the council.
Right.
Approved, simple for grant.
And once we get that, then well, hopefully we pick it up tomorrow and we can deliver it to the city manager tomorrow, hopefully. If that's the case, then we're gonna put it out, let the public look at it. So the public will see what a small area that we're taking to the park. We're not taking the park. So we want the public to see that as
It's
soon
where
as
the
we.
bathroom is.
Right, but we wanna submit it to the city council first.
Yeah, because this, the public,
Well, they-
we're gonna take over the whole park.
Well, they think we're taking
do
the
away
park,
with
we're
it,
not.
And we're not. It's ridiculous
It's
what
less
Lance
than,
put
less
out
than
there
20% of what we're taking.
Small footprint.
in the social media stuff.
And then you're gonna be attending meetings?
Yes, oh yeah.
With Lance and city council members one-on-one with the chief, correct? That's still the plan? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So any anticipation of when we're gonna be moving forward with the city council or anything?
Well, if we're able to meet with Lance tomorrow, we're gonna see how quick he's gonna be able to present it to the council.
Okay.
So I would think it's gonna be within the next 30 days, should be no problem. Due to the holidays, but I would think within the next 30 days, we'll get a feeling which way the council feels.
Okay. Sounds good.
Fantastic.
And then after that, I guess we can start looking at plans.
Correct.
I would hope that once we get the drawing that we have is the one that what we're really trying to work on is the one that they can present to the Treasury Department
Right.
for approval for the grant funds. So that's the one we've been working on. Once I think that is good and submitted to the Treasury Department, they're good with it, then I would hope we could go back to the city council and say, okay, can we now work on a lease for that
Right.
section of property, and we'll do all the legal language for the size and where it is, and then do that lease. Once we have that lease in hand, then we'd be able to move forward.
I think once we submit it to the council, or the city manager submits it to council, and we kind of get a consensus that they're on board with it, I don't feel that there's gonna be any reason, as long as we get the consensus from them, I don't feel there's no reason why we, as this department, doesn't go ahead and get Scott working on the site. And I don't feel that we should have any issues of bringing Mr. Clary in to get him to start. I've met Mr. Clary a couple times, and Scott, on the site. So I don't feel there's gonna be any reason we can't go ahead and get started on that process, why the lease and all the proper paperwork's being drawn up, as long as the council's consensus.
Is this something that we have to put out for RFP or anything?
I don't think we do we?
I think
I think we probably have to.
Well, I think the site, and we might wanna check with our legal, but I think the site will probably be okay, because he's the engineer for the city, and he's already working on it for us, so maybe the site work, we can tie in
I
with
think
the
we can
city.
utilize it, yes.
As
for that
far as
part.
the architect, the only reason I brought Charlie in is because he's done the other stations for us, and
Yes, he has.
he is local, but he's done all our work in the past, so that's why we brought him in.
Yeah. And I think as long as we're under that $10,000 threshold, we can do a lot.
Correct.
When we start to build the station and contractors and all that, that's when we'll have to RFQ and give qualifications, and then the board make a decision on who you want to go with, and that kind of stuff. But I think the initial stuff, as Commissioner
Right.
Buckingham was saying,
Great.
with the site plan
Yeah.
and all, I think as long as we're staying under the threshold that puts us in that, having to put out an RFP for
Mhm.
10 grand, I think we'll be all right.
Okay.
We gotta have something in order to put it out for bid.
Yeah, we'll
Right.
start working this
So-
work. That's good.
Thank you.
Any other comments? No? All right. Anything else, chief?
No, sir.
All right, good job, guys. All right, going to chief reports, beach safety update. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's December, so I don't have anything too exciting. But just continuing some winter work, and I did make a mistake. I thought the bids for the vehicles that we were selling were open today, and they're open tomorrow. So next meeting, we'll have vehicles the 12th, right?
They didn't, the commission doesn't have to be involved with
Nope.
the bid for the
Oh, that's-
vehicles, because this is
okay.
selling the vehicles, it goes to the highest bidder.
Correct.
And, well, we'll be looking at bids for chairs at the next meeting and
Purchase.
purchase of new vehicles. Other than that, if you have any questions. Oh, and our polar bear plunges.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, January 1st. This year will be in Henderson Beach State Park. The foundation has teamed up with the Henderson and the Friends of Henderson Beach State Park. So we may have some radio announcements and things like that to try and make it a little bit bigger, but it will be benefiting the district's junior lifeguard program.
Oh, good. I like the venue.
Good menu.
Yeah, good venue. All right. Any questions? All right, moving to training report.
Yes, sir, the commission has it in front of them, you'll see, they were able to get in 29 hours, which is phenomenal for the month of November.
I guess we got some hands-on training this past week.
Oh, absolutely. We've actually utilized the college's drill facilities twice. And this past week, and you'll see in this past month, we used it for E-Lot because they have a larger pad over there that we can utilize. So we can get our guys in and get that scheduled in annually so that way they can run through the E-Lot course. So, and this month, and you'll see that's happening, we'll be utilizing it for performance improvement.
I was talking about, we had some hands-on, meaning fires. this
Oh,
past
no,
weekend.
we had some practicals, yeah, some real world stuff, no doubt. And in reference, you brought that up, the guys did an outstanding job, good knockdown, went well.
Good. All right, any questions? All right, inspection report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, you have my report in front of you. If you have any questions, feel free.
The car wash gonna be opening up soon?
The slowest built thing I've ever seen.
It's good.
Yeah, it's coming
It's
along.
close though, it's getting close now.
Yeah, all right.
Mr. Chairman, tie that back into, there is some of the construction we've talked about in previous meetings. Some of those impact fees are coming forward, which will assist in helping us build the upcoming station where we currently have 1.1 in the impact fees. We're anticipating some additional impact fees coming in, which probably, once we collect them all, which will be before we really get the station built, we'll anticipate probably having around 1.3. So,
Awesome. Okay, any questions? All right, response change report?
yes, you'll see, it's like norm, most meetings. In November, we were around 85% level percentile for the aid and response time. Not where we'd love to be, but I think with this addition of the new station, once that come on, you'll see that improve. On page 22, you'll see the breakdown between the stations. 69% of the calls will run out of station 9. You'll see 31% will run out of station 10. I would anticipate once that new station is built, because there was I had a couple of questions in reference to percentages and stuff like that, responses. I would anticipate you would see that station probably picking up zone 1 and 2 to be between 25 and 30% of the call volume of overall district. So what you'll see then is station 9's call volume go down, or percentage go down from 69%, probably more to that 40%. It's still the main station, it's still the bulk of the area, the main body of the area, so you'll probably see this area still running more calls than either one of the other two stations. However, you'll see probably 25 to 30% of the call volume will probably come out of that newer station when it hits. Which, speaking of that, you go to page 23, you'll see the call volume breakdown by zones. You'll see that as we do most months, where zone 1 has 33 calls, and zone 3, which is where this station sits, is 54. But I would anticipate that that station that's going to be built in zone 1 is going to pick up a good majority of zone 2's calls, which is at 23. So that's where that you can kind of look at it and anticipate between 25 and 30%. And the bigger consideration with the new station is the fact that it's going to be the boat and apparatus and the personnel will all be co-located in the same spot, the same station. The big issue there, or the big benefit, is that it significantly reduces our response time to waterborne emergencies as compared to what we currently have. So not only is it picking up that 25 to 30% of the calls, you're also going to see that it's going to have all of our waterborne reduced response time. So, and I think you can see some of that in this data that's reflected that we collect in those first few pages. But in reference to the response time, response changes, you'll see those on page 24 and 25, where we actually had 223 calls, potentially 270, with the changes that we made for those alpha skilled nursing facilities. 47 calls where our assistance wasn't requested by Okaloosa County EMS, which is down below. You see those 47 breakdown. There were 27 calls, alpha calls, and 20 skilled nursing facility calls that they did not need our assistance or request our assistance on. And if you follow over to the other page at the bottom, they did request our assistance for those type of calls on 19 responses, which 10 of those were alphas and 9 to skilled nursing facilities. And then above that, you'll see our percentage of breakdown, where we see our calls where 60% of them were medicals, 40% were fire rescue, which is, depending on the month, sometimes it can be greater, and a lot of fire departments will say they're running 70 to 75% medicals. Ours varies, and we've even seen it sometimes down around 50 to 55% being medical, almost a 50-50 for us sometimes. And on the page 26, you'll see the breakdown of the type of calls that we ran. I'll answer any questions you might have in representing that material.
So basically, when we add that new station, we'll probably be evenly spread out with calls. Close.
I
Pretty
think,
close.
I
And this
think
would be a
you'll,
little bit more, but
yes, sir, because when you typically, in general, when we're looking to locate stations, try to do it so that you get call volume all around the station. Well, when we put it on one end like we are looking here, the purpose in it is to ensure that we're cutting down on our response time to waterborne emergencies, because we're surrounded by water except for one side. And that's the purpose in putting it there, as well as it's going to take up 25-30% of the call volume for us. So there's a double impact there of picking up calls, cutting down on response time on land as well as on the water. So the station's reason isn't just to try to pick up and evenly split the call volume. It's to pick up part of the call volume, cut down that response time on land as well as our response time on water.
So right now, it takes us about 10 minutes to get to the fireboat now. If we have it on the water, we're talking from 10 minutes down to 1 minute now, basically.
It's going to significantly reduce it, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And I think the 10 minutes is conservative. I think it actually takes longer than that.
And
Depending on traffic.
Emergency, that's important. 10 to 15 minutes is.
Somebody having a heart attack that's on a boat, that's on a fishing vessel, coming back, that 10 minutes, it can mean the difference between life and death, there's no doubt.
you're not gonna get an argument out of us.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, overtime report.
Yes, sir, you see it, fairly average for the month, really, in November. You'll see there was 3 24-hour shifts that we ended up covering with overtime, and then some 8-hour and 17-hour, but overall not bad with 103 hours. And there was a question earlier, I think when you saw the duty overtime in the financials as they came through, that larger percent is probably going to fall back a little bit to the hurricane. So that's, I think, is what we did.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Moving to new business, agreement with the Emerald Coast Fitness Foundation.
Yes, sir, I brought this to the board's attention at last meeting. The request was to provide some additional information. Mr. Leopold was able to provide us with a nice letter that explained what they're doing with a lot of the funds that they're receiving, which is putting in the geothermal heater and the like. And his appreciation for ours, being able, our user fee / donation that we'll be able to provide them. We'll put them over the hump to be able to purchase that system and have it installed. But the numbers, the request was for the numbers, and you'll see that in front of you where I gave all of those, 33 firefighters, 60 lifeguards. If you multiply that out, as Joe said, the simple math version of it will be around $43,000. So I think we're getting a significant benefit by providing them the 10. And then I gave some additional figures, but I do think that it easily reflects the benefit that we're receiving.
Did you all get a chance to read the letter?
Yes.
Aren't you? Very good letter, information on.
Very nice. Do we need a motion for this?
Yes, sir.
And I personally think this is a good benefit for the
I'll make a
district.
motion to approve it.
And for the public.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion to approve the user fee. Correct?
In a second.
And we get a second.
Agreement.
Pardon?
The agreement, so,
Right,
the agreement that we have in front of you.
That, okay.
Ms. Catherine and I had discussed the agreement itself. If the board will okay with it, I'd like to propose to Kevin that we make this on a calendar year.
Correct.
If he's okay with that, and if the board's okay with that, we could change the agreement so it would reflect calendar year. But it kind of works out, when we're talking about the seasonal lifeguards, the bulk of the season falls within the calendar year. If we try to do it in October, we're still kind of running it through the end of October. So it's good if we kind of go
Calendar year?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll make an amendment to this.
Yes, sir, if that's okay with.
That'll be my motion. That is my
And
motion.
so-
And my only concern is this is a fee, it's not a donation, it's not a fee, we're using it, so it's a fee.
Right.
That's my only.
Yeah, and we can have removed the donation word
Well, I
today.
don't like
Because we
that.
are using it, so, you know, we're not in business of donating taxpayers' money.
This is dated November 15th, that's when we
We're gonna
change.
change it, Yeah, that's all I was suggesting.
So everybody good with that?
Mhm.
Okay. Got a motion to approve the agreement with Emerald Coast Fitness Foundation for the user fee, and second. Any further discussion? All, take a vote, all in favor? Unanimous. Good job, Joe. Working on that. All right, resolution 19-03, declare assets obsolete.
What's that?
And talking about the computers.
Yes, sir, I'll let Ms. Catherine pick it up, because she's the one that typically handles a lot of our IT work and with CRC.
We have one computer that was purchased as a capitalized asset. It was over $1,000, and this is a 2006 computer. It is not in use, has not been in use for a long time. We would like to dispose of it along with 10 or 11 other smaller computers that we've rotated out. We're going to have them cleaned, their disks wiped or destroyed as required by public record management laws, and then dispose of them. But this one in particular, was a 2003, not a 2006. This one in particular needs to be done by resolution because it was a capital asset.
So move.
I got a motion and a second for the
15-year-old computer.
the resolution 19-03, declare asset obsolete. Any further discussion? Seeing none, take a vote. All in favor? Unanimous.
2003 should be.
All right, Chief, recognition of firefighters' years of service.
Yes, sir. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity, but we have a firefighter in the audience today that has dedicated 20 years of his life to the district and to the citizens of Destin. He came on as a member of our fire district back in November of 1998. It's hard to think, I remember back then and how long Brian has been here. Brian's done an outstanding job. I love having Brian as part of our team. And we wanted to recognize him and thank him for his 20 years of dedicated service to us and our citizens with a very nice plaque. And I'll come up front and make sure he shakes the hands of the commission and we recognize him.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming with you. Bring the deal up, center it up. We won't take a picture. I mean, it is not for my mug, I can promise you. Here, Brian.
Right here.
Is it slow? Okay. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Brian. It's always good to be able to do that. 20 years is a long time, Brian.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, sir, it is. It goes by quick.
It does, no doubt.
Just the other day.
All right, would you like to say anything? Just gonna give you the floor. All right, proposed 2019 meeting dates.
Ms. Catherine, what do you-
The dates before you, keep the same schedule. The commission meetings the second Tuesday of every month, 5:30 here at this location. And then, we felt that the budget workshops, it went very well instead of having additional meetings to incorporate them into our regular meetings, so we're proposing to do the same. And the tentative budget hearing and the final budget hearing are proposed September 10th and September 19th, but that is subject to change once verification of Okaloosa County School Board meeting is made. We cannot have our meeting the same night as them. I do not anticipate a conflict because we're staying on the same schedule that we've been. But as we get closer, if we need to change those dates, we will, because we have to advertise those separately anyways.
You need a motion or anything like that? All right. Okay, Chief,
Yes, sir, one last thing, I've heard that somewhere. One last thing, we did receive a letter from Congressman Gates, thanking us for all we did as far as collections and donations to our brethren to the east of us. And that's the letter that you see in front of you.
and I'd like to take a minute just to read it if I
Absolutely.
could. This letter's from Congress of the United States House of Representatives, Mr. Matt Gates. It says, Destin Fire Station, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude for your assistance following the aftermath of Hurricane Michael. Although the rebuild and recovery phase may take months, perhaps years, we are resilient, and the spirit of the Panhandle is already restored. Your willingness to help our brothers and sisters in neighboring counties in a moment's notice is truly commendable. The time and effort you put in did not go unnoticed, and your congressman, and as your congressman, I have never been prouder. We are strong because of people like you. I'm honored to be representing part of the Panhandle in Congress. Please do not hesitate to reach out if I can ever be assistance to you. Sincerely, Matt Gates. So thank you guys for all your work and efforts.
Very well, thank you.
In getting those products in and getting them out.
I will say that was spread across all three shifts, staff, I mean, it was everybody from top to bottom. Really did a yeoman's work in collecting it, unloading vehicles, loading vehicles, sorting. It was quite a process, and it was more than truly, I think, our citizens, because it was really more than we would have ever anticipated people donating. We were really surprised at how much our community gives. It really was. It just seemed we were getting on 4 or 5 at a time, and when they were showing up, there was just loads of stuff that they were bringing in. As the commission has seen, the room was full at times. This whole meeting space was full of donations to the point we were stacking it in the bay on pallets and wrapping it. So, but with that comes a lot of work from everybody, from the front office staff, receiving it, sorting it, and the guys, as well as some of my other staff, would receive it and unload and load up trucks, and even those that were taking it over. So it was really a team effort from everybody from top to bottom. So,
Right.
and I appreciate everybody's assistance.
Me as well. All right, well, the next meeting will be January 8th of 2019 at 5:30 p.m. And I'd also like to say, wish everybody from the public to the staff, to everybody a Merry Christmas. Everybody that travels, be safe and have a good return, and a Happy New Year. It's gonna be a
We'll
good
see
one.
you again.
That's right.
Yep,
Merry
and
Christmas.
we'll see you next year.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Anything else? All right, see you then.